The city now on day 4 of its water crisis. Look at this if you haven't been. That bathtub right there, it's full of brown, murky water. It's fit only for flushing the toilet, if that even. An emergency pump that was brought in yesterday is working at a water treatment facility there. That's a little bit of a bright spot, right? But people now, they rely on bottled water for drinking, cooking, even bathing with. Maisie Brown, she's a junior at Jackson State University. She founded the Mississippi Student Water Crisis Advocacy team. And the goal here is trying to help people deal with this water crisis that they are in dire need of water, bottled water, any help that they can get. We do have some information right there on the screen if you would like to reach out and help. Maisie, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, you know, hats off to you to starting an organization like this and trying to help others. How are you doing as far as water concerns personally, and do you have running water?
Yeah, so right now I don't personally have any, as my water is running, and it's fine, but a lot of people around Jackson are not having that same reality. I know I made a delivery last night of about 6 to 7 cases, and I was like, what's your pressure like? And he was like, it's still very weak. He's barely getting a drip out of his faucet, and there are 5 people in his home. And so we don't realize, I guess, the importance and the necessity for clean drinking water and running water until we're without it, or people at very small amounts.
How are you managing this hotline? I imagine you're getting inundated with a lot of calls here.
It is insane. The first day, you know, was pretty consistent, you know, maybe every 30 minutes, every 20 minutes. But as people have kind of shared the line numbers with their neighbors, we've had a lot of calls from different senior citizen apartment homes and even some hospitals or clinics who have reached out for their patients who don't have anybody to bring them water. So now we're averaging a call every 5 minutes at minimum.
Share with us some
asking for water to their homes.
Sorry, there's a delay there. Share with us some of the stories that you are hearing when you are going out and physically delivering some of these bottles of water. You mentioned one man who said he barely had enough and he had a family of 5. Anyone else that sticks out to you?
Just so many. Well, the target of our group and why it was created was to fill the gap of transportation and delivery issues that we were having around Jackson as it pertains to the water crisis. There are a lot of distribution sites all over the city, but we did not see as much focus on the elderly community, the disabled, and those who don't have transportation. So our hotline is really, really focused on those who can't physically get out and actually get the water themselves. So we're encountering a lot of elderly couples, a lot of disabled people who would have otherwise had to try to figure it out, who didn't have the family or the vehicles to actually go and get this water. And so it's a very humbling experience, but it keeps us motivated to keep going. We're getting a ton of donations, water cases, and we're doing what we can as college students and young people with our cars and trucks that we're borrowing.
I love what you're doing. Where are you getting these cases of bottled water? Are you having to go out of the area to get them?
So our local Walmart and Kroger, they were all out when I looked on that first day. We've had some success with the hardware stores, so stores such as Home Depot, Sporting Academy stores like Academy. We have had to outsource from a couple of Krogers and Walmarts from surrounding cities a few miles down that I guess people haven't gotten to yet. The water online is ridiculously priced, so we're trying to stay away from that. And just trying to buy as local and as close as we can. But we have people volunteering their trucks, their moving trucks to help us get these pallets in. And we've had a plethora of monetary donations from people all over the country who want to help continue our cause.
Well, love what you're doing, reaching out and helping those who need it most. Maisie Brown, thank you so much. A student at Jackson State University. They say the students are our future, and indeed you are showing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's now day 4 for them, waking up to brown, gritty, undrinkable water flowing from their taps you see here in this video. Some people say it smells like sewage, and the only thing it's good for is flushing the toilet. One mother says the water has made her kids sick.
Fever, headaches, they got chills, all of that. I traced everything back to it was the water.
A recent flooding has made long-standing issues at the main water treatment plant even worse. Let's go live to Jackson, Mississippi. Our correspondent Emerald Walker is there. Okay, I see a lot of activity going on behind you. It looks as though you're at a water distribution center of some sort. I even see some of the guys behind you. They appear to be inmates helping out.
Yeah, that's correct. Hi there, Shyann. So we're here at the Salvation Army on Beasley Road. This is the second day that they are distributing drinking water. And yes, if you take a look behind me, there are about 30 inmates from the Mississippi Department of Corrections who are volunteering, helping in these efforts and picking up these cases of water and putting them into the cars of the people who've been waiting so kindly to receive them. They're part of the Community Work Center program, and they often volunteer for events like this. But look, it's been a busy day as usual. People really need this drinking water. What's really been heartbreaking, Cheyenne, is to hear some of these stories. I spoke with a major, Ethan Frizzell, with the Salvation Army, and he said that, just looking in the back seats of these cars, he's seeing what almost looks like people living out of their cars because they're spending so much time in them, waiting in line to get water. The children in the back seat doing their homework from there while their parents wait because, again, they're not in school right now, right? Because of the water crisis, they're all in virtual learning. This is not the only water distribution site. In fact, the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, MEMA, says that there are about 7 mega distribution water sites that are up and running as of today, with 36 truckloads of water coming in daily. And there are up to 4,500 National Guard troops who've been activated to help in this effort. Cheyenne.
Wow, Amara and Walker, thank you so much. No doubt that those people are going through so much. We're hoping that they can get a resolution sooner than later. Thanks so much for your reporting and giving us insight. And what's happening in Jackson, Mississippi, it really is a warning for all of us. If you're prepared, are you prepared, right? If your family loses access to clean drinking water, it's something you don't think about on a day-to-day basis, Jen, like things we take for granted. But then you see something like this, a situation that they're in dire need of cases of water.
Well, and we take it for granted because this is something this is why you have a government, right? This is like their most basic job if you're the government. Water and power, I guess, This is something where the reason that we do this as a society is because trying to pay for yourself is not efficient at all. It's expensive and it's not very fair. But America has been penny pinching, taking old investments for granted, neglecting our water pipes. Don't take that from me. That's what the American Society of Civil Engineers says. They gave the United States, when it comes to our drinking water, a C- when it comes to the infrastructure. Yeah, C-. And the group says it's partly because the federal government has been spending less here, letting those pipes age out. They also say, by the way, we need a lot more people working in our water system. So I don't know if you're thinking about a career, that might be a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, right? Lots of shortages everywhere in a lot of different areas. So what about if you are faced with a situation, like Jackson? Is there a way to prepare for the worst, just in case?
Yeah. And part of this is, well, how much extra money do you have? And, we've been talking about separately how many people live paycheck to paycheck. So this is not something you can just go out and pay for. But if you have to, you may want to have water for emergencies. FEMA says you want to have a gallon a day for each person in the family, and you want to have that for about 3 days. Now, we know in Jackson it's going on more than 3 days, but also you of course want to think about having extra if you've got pets too. Now, most bottles of water, if you keep them in a cool, dark place, they'll last about 2 years. That's good. There are filtering systems. You've been hearing some of the people, in Jackson talk about that, but they can be really expensive depending on what you buy. So that can be a really, you can look for that, but it's almost like you shouldn't have to buy that. So you can look into those kinds of products out there. Another thing you could do is just give your time. And what I mean by that is go to your town meetings and let your local officials know that this is important to you, that this is how you're going to vote. But again, I'm saying local, but in many cases it's not just local. The local places have been spending. It's a federal government that's spending less, says the engineers.
All right, Jen, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Something was terribly wrong.
They were being watched.
He heard a scream.
She saw a man carrying a child into the night.
The more they looked, the worse it appeared to them.
The volatility of the relationship
began to emerge.
Saw an aircraft in distress.
They vanished into thin air.
Every parent's worst nightmare.
That's when I knew that something was horribly wrong.
There's a whole lot of blood on the bed.
Retaliation, she says, for his abusive treatment of her.
It was shocking.
There is no way that this was a suicide.
We started putting together some of the pieces to this puzzle.
You know what happened?
We realized that we had a serial killer.
It's not their first rodeo.
Very dangerous individual.
She had 47 stab wounds on her body.
Butchered.
No empathy.
To think that anybody could do something like that and then leave him there to die.
The truth will come out.